Previously on YouTube's The Drawing Dead.
And your boy has made it into the final 97.
We can all just look at Olivia Munn. Unfortunately for me, in my tournament life, Chris pairs his tin on the river, knocking me out in third place.
And next time probably won't be in Florida. Bye.
Destination is on the right.
It's that Three River gambling man, the Cincinnati Kid.
The Cincinnati Kid.
The Cincinnati Kid.
Cincinnati Kid.
It's November something. I'm not sure what the date is. I know I'm in Cincinnati.
Baby, if you've ever wondered.
I know it's the day after Thanksgiving, otherwise known as African American Friday. Leftover day, big sales day, and I am here at the Jack. The Jack. We're gonna try to get a quick session in. And when I say quick, I mean 2 hours, maybe 3. Took some time away from the family to get some poker in, so let's get some poker in. And let's just see what happens at the Jack. Cincinnati, Ohio. My hometown. Unlike the last time I was here at the Jack, you can now call in to get on the list on the poker games. Good job, Mr. Jack. So that being that, I have called in probably about 45 minutes ago, so I'm in a rush to get in there before I fall off the list. Cincinnati, Ohio. My hometown. The place where I lived for 18 years. The home of WKRP. The Queen City. The city of Seven Hills. The city... You know what? That's not important. What is important is what's going on right here.
And this is me playing 1-2 while I wait for a 2-5 seat to open.
While waiting for that 2-5 seat, I believe I played 2 hands. I ended up this session down about $20.
Normally when I sit down at a 2-5 game and I don't recognize any of the players, by default, I just assume that all the players are winning players. Until they do something to make me think otherwise. So in this hand, when Under the Gun opens for 15, next to act calls, and it folds to me on the button with 10-9 suited, I choose the safest route, which is just to call. Actually, the safest route would be to fold, but that would be no fun. Seeing a 10 of hearts right in the window definitely doesn't suck. It also doesn't suck that both players check to me. I choose a bet size of 30 to get a little bit of value and to protect my equity, but they both just fold.
Still had only been in the game a couple orbits when this hand goes down. Look down at Queen Jack of Hearts Under the Gun, which is one of my favorite hands. It's one of those hands that hits the flop, even when it doesn't. You know what I mean? Most definitely not open limping, so I make it 20. It folds around to the hijack, who elects to call, as does the small blind and the big blind. Now all my mental energy shifts to praying for either a queen or some board that I can continue with. Top pair, decent kicker, backdoor heart draw. I say that fits the bill. The small blind and the big blind check to me, and there's really no reason to go crazy with the bet sizing here, so I bet a little less than half the pot. The hijack comes along with most likely some weird draw or pocket pair that just doesn't believe me. But here's where the wheels kind of come off. The small blind now elects to check raise to 145. At this point, I hadn't even seen the small blind play a hand yet. Had we been deeper stacked, this would probably have been more of a decision, but seeing as he only started the hand with $300, this is essentially him just moving all in. And unfortunately, I can't really beat that much. Could he be doing this with a hand like 6-7 suited? It's possible, but until I get a little bit more information on the guy, I'll just live to fight another day. A couple orbits later, it's limped to me 4 ways in the big blind,
and I look down at King Jack offsuit. A live misclick by me as I meant to make it 40, but I ended up only making it $20 to go. The under the gun limper calls, the cutoff calls, and hey, the button calls as well. 4 ways to a flop of King Queen 4 with 2 hearts. Again, another situation where I've flopped top pair with a decent kicker. I lead out for $40 into the field. The cutoff calls, and the button decides to shove for $118. My best bet here is probably just to call. Re-raising here I feel is overplaying my hand, just a little bit. The cutoff elects to call as well, and we see the turn heads up. I could have been put in a really tricky spot had the cutoff elected to bet the queen of diamonds on the turn. But as it went, we both checked. Another check-in coming from both of us on the 4 of spades river. I expose my hand, and I'm good. This hand actually ends up being one of the only straddled pots of this session, as the under the gun player has straddled to 10. A super tight player next to act makes it 30, and I look down at King Queen of hearts and elect to just call with so many people behind me. Everyone else gets out of the way, including the straddle, and we end up going to the flop heads up. The flop comes 9 of hearts, 8 of hearts, 5 of clubs, and the original raiser bets 40. That's a pretty good flop for my hand. And oftentimes on boards like this, I will elect to raise, especially with 2 overcards and the flush draw. But the original raiser's position and super tight image gave me a little bit of pause. I elected to just flat call to see what happens on the turn. We both elect to check the 9 of clubs turn card. I definitely missed a bet here. Top pair pairing on the turn is a perfect card for me to bet as a bluff. Not only is it very believable that I would call his flop bet with a 9 in my hand, it allows me to continue telling that story with the bluff on the river in case I miss my heart draw. As played, however, I do end up missing my heart draw on the river. He leads out for 50, and all I can do is fold. At this point, I had been in the game about an hour and discovered that the table had been playing pretty passively. I was able to get away with a lot of steals here and a lot of steals there. In this hand, the under the gun player has put on a $10 straddle, which is just called by a player in late position that has a $150 stack. When I look down at Ace King of Diamonds, otherwise known as the Mortal Nuts, an unbeatable hand, and I don't care what anybody has to say about it. I make it 50 to go, the big blind quickly folds, and the under the gun player, wearing a Henley, elects to call. Almost everyone knows that you can't pick up good starting hands wearing a Henley, so I have no idea what this guy is doing. But before I really have time to ponder our under the gun straddling Henley wearing villain, the later position guy has moved all in for 135. Do I really need to tell you what I do next? I'm all in. I'm all in. You're all in? That's right. I move all in. Let's put this Henley to the test, sir. There's 0 chance that you have a hand. Hey, I didn't tell you to put that on. We go heads up to the flop and the dealer runs out the board, and immediately I see a king, so I know I flop top pair and I feel pretty good. That's quickly followed by a second diamond on the turn, and the river brings what I already knew was coming.
Oh, don't you do it. Queens.
Oh, wow. The all-in player shows pocket queens for a flopped middle set. I mean, hey, I knew Ace King of Diamonds was super strong, but we didn't really have to do the guy that dirty.
So the plan was to step outside, give a ridiculously quick mid-session update using the awesome lighting outside of the jack to do it in. Unfortunately, I stepped outside and it's pouring raining. So I'm in the basement of the parking garage, which isn't where I want it to be. Basement of the parking garage or no basement of the parking garage, here's your mid-session update. Things are glowing splendidly? Is that a word that I use? Do I use splendidly? Things are going well. Very well. The 2-5 game at the jack is a $500 cap, so not exactly short, 100 big blinds, but not deep. It's not a 200, 300 big blind buy-in affair. So with the 100 big blind stacks, the game plays very similar to a 1-3 game. In other words, you have to choose hands with good starting values. You can't just be messing around and hoping to make moves on the flop in the turn, because you'll get to the flop in the turn and you won't have many chips left. So far, in my experience at this game, the players are playing pretty fit or fold. So they hit the flop, they bet. They miss the flop, they check. If they check, I bet. And it's working. And it doesn't hurt that I ran down the guy's flop set of queens with the nut flush. Can't be mad at that. Can't be mad at me for that. We were all in pre-flop. What am I supposed to do? I didn't know he was going to flop a set. I didn't know I even had the ability to go runner flush. Now I know. So in the game right now for 500, I'm guessing I might have 11 or 1200 in front of me. I've been in the game for about an hour and a half or 2 hours. And I ain't going to be in the game for another hour and a half or 2 hours. In fact, I don't know how long I'm going to be in this game. Maybe another hour. And then we're going to get out of here. And I'll for sure tell you guys how it went. So far, so good at Jack Casino, Cincinnati. Besides the rain. I really wanted to do a mid-session update outside, but, you know. Back home to St. Louis tomorrow. So we're all done at the jack. Probably about an hour, hour and a half after the mid-session update. Not much really happened. Didn't lose any big pots, won a couple small ones. So I'd say my time here at the jack was a big success. Played a super short 1-3 session before getting moved into 2-5. Was down $19 in the 1-3 session. Bought into the 2-5 game for 500 and cashed out at 1,060. So a good African-American Friday session for me. Now it's time to hit the road. Got about a 30-minute drive back to where I'm staying. And then we're heading back to St. Louis tomorrow. So the next time I see you, maybe it'll be in St. Louis. Maybe it'll be in Sacramento. Maybe it'll be in Washington, D.C. Who knows? All I know is I got to get out of here tonight. So If you like the videos, click the thumbs up icon, subscribe, and you'll get notifications, and leave me a comment, and I'll probably respond. Catch you later. Bye.
Next time on YouTube's The Drawing Dead.
I was having drinks with this guy.
Greetings. What up? Brian upset.
And I'm going to tell you why there's no vlog tonight and why it's his fault.
Making me feel worse? You make me feel worse.
Pool tape, poker table.
Went around. Because I know he has an ace.
Oh, yes. Anybody?
With Kmart, and I took him down, because that's what I do. I come into town, I take him down. Do you understand what I'm saying? Using the, but anyway, basement, I'm in the, in other words, you have to choose hands with good starting values. You can't just, in other words, you have to choose hands with good starting values. The players are, so in the game for 500, I'm guessing, so far, so the plan, and it doesn't, the players are praying why can't I say that? The players are playing pretty tight pre-flop.
Cause when he hits Vegas, the boy stays mixing it up. Higher stakes like filet mignon.